how do you handle disrespect from a woman? Like you're on a date with this girl or even out with your wife and she's on her phone. Not like checking a text real quick. She's scrolling Instagram while you're mid-sentence. You're telling her about your trip to Costa Rica where you almost got attacked by a monkey, and she's double tapping her friend's brunch photo like you're not even there. Or maybe it's different for you. Maybe she talks over you constantly, where you start a sentence and she just steamroll right through it like you're a ghost. Maybe she cancels plans last minute, then shows up 2 hours late when you reschedule, and somehow you're the one apologizing. Oh, no worries, I'm just happy you're here. Bro, stop. Because here's what I've learned after 16 years of coaching men. Respect isn't given, it's commanded. And most guys are doing the exact opposite of what commands respect. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the 12 habits that turn the tables so you stop being the guy she walks all over and starts being the man she actually respects. Hi, I'm Bobby Rio. And let me tell you something that took me way too long to figure out. Years ago, I was dating this girl. She was, hot, funny, the whole package. And she treated me like absolute garbage. She'd show up late, she'd cancel plans, she'd make little jabs at me in front of her friends, even in front of my friends. And what did I do? I tried harder. I thought if I just show her that I'm more understanding, more patient, more accommodating, eventually she'll appreciate me. Wrong. The more I tolerated, the worse she treated me, because I was teaching her exactly how to treat me, and the lesson was, this guy has no standards. Walk all over him. See, most guys think that respect comes from being nice, from being agreeable, from never rocking the boat. But that's not how respect works. Respect comes from the value you place on yourself. And that value is communicated through micro behaviors, tiny signals that you're sending every single interaction. Most guys are sending signals that scream, please like me, please don't leave, I'll put up with anything. And women pick up on those signals like sharks smell blood in the water. So today I'm gonna show you how to flip those signals. So let's get into it and let's go through 12 habits that make women respect you, starting with habit number 1. And this is something you can start doing immediately with anybody you talk to, not just women, and that's finish your sentences. So this is one of the most subtle but powerful ways to really command respect. So you're telling a story and she cuts you off mid-sentence to talk about herself. What does the average guy do? He stops talking. He lets her take over. He thinks, I don't want to be rude, but here's what that actually communicates to her. Her words are more important than mine, and she feels that. Instead, here's what you do. When you get interrupted by her, just keep talking. Not louder, not aggressive, just calmly finish your thought at the same pace you were at. And then, and only then, you acknowledge what she said. So what you're communicating is, I have value, what I say is valuable, and I expect you to listen. This tiny shift changes everything because the person who stops talking first is the person who's signaling lower status. And respect flows to status. So very easy one to try out. Next time you're out, and whether it's a woman or even a friend, and you're telling a story and they start to talk, just finish what you're saying without handing the microphone to them like they're the star and they're grabbing it, right? You just keep talking. So habit 2 is use reward and punishment signals, and this one's ninja level. Most guys don't realize that they can control the entire tone of a conversation without saying a single word. So here's how it works. When she's being disrespectful, look away. Let your attention wander off. Be a blank stare, right? Maybe check your phone for a second. You're showing her less of your attention. When she shifts to being respectful, then you reward her with more of it, right? Strong eye contact, a smile, verbal affirmation. You're training her like Pavlov's dog, except instead of a bell and food, it's attention and engagement. And she'll start associating good behavior with your attention and bad behavior with losing it. All of this happens subconsciously. She doesn't even know like what you're doing. She just suddenly feels like she needs to be on her best behavior around you. All right, habit number 3 is the high status reframe. So the high status reframe. So maybe she throws a jab at you, maybe she makes fun of your shoes, maybe she says something snarky about your job. What does the average guy do? He gets defensive. He starts explaining himself. Actually, these shoes are really comfortable and they cost $200 and stop. By defending yourself, you've already lost because you've now accepted that the frame that she gave and her opinion matters more. Here's the high status move. Act like her insult is too insignificant to take seriously. Give her a little smirk, maybe raise an eyebrow like you're mildly amused, then just move on. You don't have to clap back with some clever insult. You just have to communicate, that was cute, you done yet? The ultimate version of this is implying that you haven't even bothered to remember her jab. Like it bounced off you so fast it didn't register. So that completely dismantles her without you needing to debate yourself or debate anything with her. And this, again, is one of those things that's really easy to try out. Next time a woman or even a coworker or a friend throws you a jab, instead of instantly wanting to defend yourself, just give that smirk of like, are you done yet? And go back to exactly what you were doing. All right, so habit number 4 is defend your time. And here's a scenario I see all the time. Guy plans a date for 7 p.m., she shows up at 7:45, no text, no call, nothing, right? And what does he do? No worries, was just catching up on emails anyway. Bro, you just told her that your time is worthless. You told her that she can do this again. You told her that you have nowhere else to be and no one else to see. So here's what a high value man does. If someone is habitually late or disrespectful of your schedule, you don't blow up, you don't get emotional, but you do call it out calmly, directly, like, hey, I get that life happens, but I need you to give me a heads up in the future if you're running late, right? Or, you know, listen, my time matters. That's it, right? The next time she does it, guess what you do? You leave. You sent a text saying, I'm heading out, let's do this another time. You're not being a jerk, you're setting a standard. And she'll either respect it or she'll reveal that she's not worth your time anyway. All right, habit 5 is the warning shot sequence. Just gonna call this warning shot. So this one is for dealing with passive aggressive behavior. You know what I'm talking about. The little comments that seem innocent, but you can feel the dig underneath, like, oh, you're wearing that tonight? Must be nice to have a job with so much free time. Here's the escalation ladder. Step 1, hold steady, eye contact. Not aggressive, just knowing, right? You just give her a little eye contact. Or let her see that you see what she's doing. Step 2 is give her the benefit of the doubt. Answer at face value like you didn't catch the dig. Yeah, I like this shirt, it's comfortable. Step 3 is fire a good-natured warning shot. Something that hints that she should stop, like, you're in a feisty mood tonight, huh? Step 4, if she persists, call it out directly. Hey, what's going on here? What are we doing here, right? And if she keeps going after that, what do? You remove yourself from the situation. I'm gonna head out. You seem like you need some space tonight. You don't do it with drama. You don't have an argument. You're very calm about it, but you leave. So habit 6 is the power of silence. Most guys are terrified of silence. She says something challenging, and what do? They immediately start scrambling to fill the void, explaining, justifying, backpedaling. But here's the thing about silence. The person who flinches first loses. When she throws out something designed to get a reaction out of you, just don't react. Hold eye contact, let the silence hang. 2 or 3 seconds will feel like an eternity in this conversation, but it communicates something powerful. I'm not afraid of this moment. I'm not rattled, and I'm definitely not going to scramble for your approval. This works especially well after she says something provocative. Instead of taking the bait like you probably want to do, instead just pause, maybe give her a slight little smile, then wait, so that when you do speak, it's measured and calm. You can just go, so I was saying, or so you were saying, and move on. That's composure, and she'll sense that power. Habit 7 is purposeful misinterpretation. So purposeful misinterpretation, what does that mean? Well, this is one of my favorites. When she's being rude or trying to embarrass you, you take back control by deliberately misinterpreting what she says. And you can do this for anybody, but let me give you an example. She says, "Wow, you're really confident for someone who looks like that." Most guys would get defensive or even hurt, but you focus on a minor detail and ignore the insult entirely. I know, right? This lighting isn't doing me any favors, but at least my personality is stunning. Or even better, you interpret her rude comment as a compliment. "Oh, are you flirting with me? That's so adorable." So what you're doing is you're refusing to play by her rules and enter her frame. She expected you to get flustered. She expected you to defend yourself. Instead, you just didn't take the bait. And that flips the power dynamic completely, because what that was a frame test. She's seeing if she can get you to enter her reality, and you're basically saying, "Nope, I'm staying in my reality. I'm staying confident. I'm staying who I am. Your little insults have no effect on me." Now, real quick, everything that I'm showing you today, especially this stuff in terms of frame control and who's controlling the dynamic, it's all part of what I call the invisible game. See, most guys are playing the visible game. They're focused on what to say, what to text, how to dress, but women are always playing a completely different game underneath all of that. A game of subtle signals, of power dynamics, and of unspoken little tests. And when you don't know that game exists, you lose before you even start. That's why I wrote a book called The Invisible Game. It breaks down the unspoken rules that govern attraction, the tests that she's running on you without you even realizing it, and exactly how to flip the script so that you're the one in control. If you've ever felt like you were doing everything right but still getting walked on, this book shows you what's really happening under the surface. I'll drop a link in the description. You can also find the book on Amazon. But let's keep going. Habit number 8 is screen her instead. So here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Most guys are trying to convince her to like them. They're trying to convince everybody to like them. You go into a social situation with the mindset of like, I need this person to like me. They're auditioning, they're performing, they're hoping that she approves of them. But high value men flip that dynamic. They act like they're the one doing the screening. Instead of asking yourself, does she like me? Will this entertain her? Will she think what I'm saying is cool? Ask yourself, is she impressive enough for my time? When you're genuinely evaluating whether she's worth your attention, your whole energy changes. You stop trying so hard. You ask better questions. You're genuinely curious instead of desperately performing. And here's the paradox. When you act like an equal partner with her instead of an eager applicant, she works harder to win your attention and your respect, because people value what they have to earn. Now, again, this does not mean you judge her outright, so what's good about you? You don't do that. That comes across as fake and phony. You evaluate her in your mind. You go into an interaction, instead of thinking, how can I impress her? You go into it mentally going, I'm curious if she can keep up with me. I'm curious if she can connect with me. I'm curious if she has a sense of humor. I'm curious if she has a fun side to her. And you be yourself and you see, does she get my humor? Is she fun when I'm playful, or is she boring? And you have that mindset going into it. All right, habit number 9 is confront the behavior, not the person. So again, everything that I'm discussing here, we're talking about disrespect from a woman, but really, this one in particular, it works really well if you're critiquing somebody in a work situation or a social circle situation. Again, the idea is confront the behavior, not the person. So when you need to address disrespect, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. The wrong way is to attack the other person's character. Like, you're so rude, you're being a bitch. That just makes her defensive and escalates the situation. The right way is to separate the person from the action. So don't speak to me in that tone. I don't appreciate being interrupted. That comment felt really unnecessary. See the difference? You're validating that she exists as a human being, right? You're not calling her a name, you're not criticizing her personality, but you're firmly rejecting the behavior that you don't like. This gives her a graceful way to adjust without feeling attacked. Again, this is a really important thing to know, especially when you're dealing with like a coworker in a work environment. Always criticize the way their behavior and not them as a person. So if you think somebody's being lazy, you don't say, I don't like that you're lazy. You're such a lazy person. You say something like, you don't seem like you're putting as much effort in as you could. I know you could put more effort into this, right? It also shows that you can handle conflict like a grown-up, right? Like a grown man. You're not going to lose your cool. So habit number 10, speak with downward inflection. All right, speak with downward inflection. This is something that most guys have never even thought about. The way your sentences end communicate more about your status than the words that you're actually saying. So when you end sentences with an upward inflection, it sounds like you're asking a question. We should go to that Italian place. Even if it's a statement, it still sounded like you're seeking approval. But when you end with a downward inflection, it signals certainty. We're going to that Italian place. Same words, totally different energy. The first version asks for permission. The second version leads. Start paying attention to how your sentences sound. Bring that tonality down at the end of it. It's a small shift that makes you sound way more confident, way more used to being followed. All right, habit 11, use variable eye contact. So everyone knows that eye contact is important, but most guys do it wrong. They either stare intensely the whole time like a freaking serial killer, or they avoid eye contact completely and look like they're hiding something. Here's the high status move, variable eye contact. At the start of an interaction, make limited eye contact. This signals mild disinterest, like she hasn't fully earned your attention yet. Then, when you want to make a point, switch to piercing eye contact, right? Direct, intense, unwavering. This keeps people captivated because they never know when they're going to get hit with that full power of your focus. It's unpredictable, and unpredictability commands attention. All right, habit number 12, be willing to walk away. So being willing to walk away, this is the ultimate power move. And it's the one that most guys are too scared to use because here's the truth. The person who's willing to walk away always has the upper hand. They always have the power, whether it's a negotiation, a relationship, or just a conversation at the bar. The person with the better second option holds all the cards. And here's what most guys don't realize. You don't have to say you're willing to walk away, okay? A lot of guys, when I teach this concept of you always have to demonstrate a willingness to walk away, they think it means having an ultimatum or a conversation. That's not the case, because she can feel it. When you're truly willing to walk away, when a man truly doesn't need her approval, when he genuinely has other options, when he's not clinging to this interaction like it's his only chance at happiness, it radiates from you naturally, and that energy commands respect like nothing else, because respect is ultimately about value. And the man who can walk away is the man who values himself. So let me wrap this up for you. Respect isn't something that you ask for. It's something that you command and earn through the micro signals that you send every single interaction you have with anybody, not just women. It's earned through things like finishing your sentences when she interrupts you, through using reward and punishment signals, through defending your time, through staying silent when she expects you to scramble, through being willing to walk away. These aren't games, they're standards. And when you start living by them, you stop being the guy that women walk all over, that coworkers walk all over, that, your friends sometimes, right? Maybe you're the guy in your friend group that just doesn't get the respect that you feel you deserve. Well, when you do these things, these habits, when you make these habits, and I specifically use the word habits because you want these to become habits that you use with everybody. And when you use these habits, you start being the guy that people respect. Now, if you want to go deeper on this, if you want to understand the invisible game that's happening underneath every interaction, I have a free class that I put together called The 3 Steps to Status, Value, and Charisma. And in this class, I break down things like the first step is, how do I project that I'm a high value man. And we talk about 12 ways, 12 characteristics of that man that's naturally seen as high value. Then we talk about how to communicate it. So when you're talking to a woman, how do you communicate this value without sounding like you're trying to impress her, right? Because it's not at all about, in fact, trying to impress somebody lowers your value. Communicating your value is talking from a place of being high status, right? The way you talk to her, the way you communicate with her is from a place of status. The third part of the class is how to build a reputation throughout your social scene as that guy, that high status guy. And it's a lot easier than most guys think, because as I mentioned earlier in the class, it's all about perception. It's all about how people perceive you, and you can control the way somebody perceives you. That's a really important distinction. You are in control of how you're perceived by other people, and that's what this class digs into, is how to control that perception so you're seen by the women in your life as having high value, as having high status, and as being socially powerful. So I have a link to that class below. I also, if you like this video, hit like, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment letting me know what you'd like me to cover in the next video.